What is going on out there, peeps? All right, let's get back into what's happening over there in Iraq. By the way, I like this picture. There's something about those dark clouds. The soldiers there looks pretty smooth. Anyways, there's some concerns we need to talk about and get out in the open. No sense in, dragging it out. Let's rip off the scar. Is that right? No, let's rip off the bandage. Let's rip off the bandage and get it going. All right. Nonetheless, in case you're not paying attention to the markets right now, gold, silver, cryptocurrencies are running like crazy. Good. If you're thinking about buying precious metals, please give our friends over at Money Metals Exchange a consideration. The link is in the description. If you are a first-time buyer here in the United States or Puerto Rico, and you spend more than $100 on precious metals, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and get a free half ounce of silver. You guys know I'm over here on Twitter. The link is down in the description. Come on over there and join me. But if something should go wrong on Twitter as well as YouTube, make sure you guys come over here. The link is in the description for the GESARA Club. Make sure you save it on your tabs. And if you want to find me, you can come over and click my profile. In here, I have my videos. You're more than welcome to share. Just hit right over here is how you share them. Just click what platform you want to share them on. The videos are there for you to use. And I encourage you to sign up for the newsletter, just in case something does happen to me. They'll be able to inform you where I'm at. All right, you guys. Now we're going to get into what's going on in Iraq. Okay, there's some good things, but also some things we need to get out in the open and start talking about. So a bank meeting discussing bank reality in the shadow of the Rona pandemic and a financial crisis. Okay. So the Iraq Bank, the private bank association, held a meeting for the managers of the commissioners of the bank operating inside the country to discuss the banking reality and the challenges facing banks in light of the Rona and the financial crisis. So I told you guys the issue with Iraq is something like in the neighborhood of 9% of the people, only 9% of its citizens have a banking account. They don't trust the banks. Over the last few decades, too many things have happened and they've lost their money. So you can understand why they're a little hesitant. Don't worry about it, people in Iraq. We feel you because our bank's been screwing us here in the United States for a long time. Nonetheless, what they're trying to do is they're having a meeting, trying to figure out how they can strengthen their relationships with the citizens and start encouraging them to take the money from underneath the mattress or wherever they're hiding it at and start depositing it into the bank. And they can start getting services that will help them out in addition. Why does the bank want them to do that? Because they can use that money then to start financing projects. Do you see what I'm saying? When the money is in the bank, this allows them an opportunity to take that money and invest it in other things, which is needed to help Iraq get back on its feet. But again, they've been screwed over one time after another. Whether, the whole Saddam Hussein changing, then the currency swap in 2003 to, ISIS coming over there and taking their money. So you can understand why they're a little bit hesitant. But nonetheless, the bank needs to figure out a way to start getting the people in there and opening up accounts so that they can use the money to fund projects. Obviously, what they're trying to do, and not surprising, is force them into some type of digital currency, which we're not thrilled about because this is all tied into that whole World Economic Forum, New World Order movement. Academia, the current economical crisis is prompting us to think of a future that does not depend on oil. Yeah, we know this. You should have done this already. We know that 95% of the money generated for the budget every year comes from oil. But what happens if something happens to the oil sector, just like we've seen happen? What happens if something happens to their economy, just like we've seen with the Rona? They can't rely 100% on oil. They need to start developing other sectors so people can start going to work. We need to get people off the financial aid of the government and start getting them into jobs so they're paying taxes. This way there's not money coming out of the government, but going into the government, which is needed. So Al-Qademi inaugurated a Thursday morning a gas tower, which is the largest in the gas industry. It was implemented in the Basra Gas Company. The project will bring about new policy for long-term development for Iraq and for Bashar government, which deserves a lot from us, he said, explaining that the partnership between Iraq's institution and sober international companies in an ideal way to advance the Iraq economy and provide job opportunities for young people serving the country. Yeah, we need to start getting employment opportunities for people out there. A lot of them are the youth. This is where the protesters are coming in. They want jobs. Okay? The central bank and international organization discuss mechanisms to enhance financial inclusion. So the financial inclusion is this. We all know this. They want all the banks to be able to start working closely with one another. They want to make sure they all have the right software and that everybody is on the same page. Again, I can't help but feel that's towards that great reset, but nonetheless, in this particular article, I could tell you that they're talking more about the inclusion of the World Trade Organization. Keep in mind that Iraq and Vietnam are being expedited through this process. Iraq was started and then was stopped whenever Maliki resigned and we had to wait for a new government, but now they seem to be going full bore ahead. Okay, so part of this issue is making sure they get their ducks in a row in the banking industry so that they can be part of this inclusion. All right, so they can start doing business on international scene at a much higher level. But the banking system has to be taken care of. Other countries have to feel that they can trust the banks over in Iraq, that there's no shenanigans going on there. They don't have to worry about them laundering money or funding terrorists. So all these things are being put together to make sure that everything is done properly, done in the right order. Policies and procedures are implemented, and making sure that Iraq is where they need to be in order to be part of this inclusion, okay? But again, it doesn't say in here the World Trade Organization, but I do know that's what it's for. The other thing is talking about making sure that the ducks in a row with the Arab Monetary Fund. For those you don't know what that is, there's 22 or 23 nations that have signed on to this organization called the Arab Monetary Fund. It was put together because, the Arab nations were having a hard time doing trade with one another for a multitude of reasons. Sometimes they were already in other trade agreements with countries who were at opposite ends or fighting with another country that a country they wanted to do trade with was having issues with. So what they decided to do was create the Arab Monetary Fund, and in there to use for trade to make sure that the money was on equal par, they use this thing called Arab accounting dinar. The problem is some of these nations' exchange rates are too low, like Iraq. So they needed to come up a little so that they can be included in this. And they're now including them into this inclusion thing here. Okay? So again, this is good. We want to see Iraq get back out there on the international scene. We really do. This is the president of Iraq ratifying the election law, which means it is now law. It is passed by the committee, it was passed by parliament, and now the president has signed it into order. This is good because this will help during early elections on June the 6th. So here's something I want to talk to you about. I do have a friend who works for the State Department. No, he doesn't know anything about currencies, but he was the guy I was able to talk to a lot about geopolitics. This is how I knew a lot of these peace agreements are going on. So I've been bugging him and reaching out to him to see if he heard anything about what's going on with this election. There's nothing he can really share with me because they're still over there in the Middle East hammering deals out. They're trying to. And I said, oh, well, this is good. I knew there was a lot of things going and it was looking good. He said, not right now. I said, why is that? Well, there's much reason for this. These countries are now expressing their concern over a Biden victory. Yeah, we know that John Kerry's wife is tied to the mullahs in Iraq, the leaders. We know that Obama sent them $1.5 billion and they use that money to fund and arm gangs. And these gangs are running around raising hell in these nations. They're concerned that that's going to happen again. They're also very concerned about Biden announcing ahead of time that he's going to go ahead and enter once again into this Iranian nuclear deal. Israel's not thrilled about this at all. because their goal is to build a nuclear weapon and just blow Israel right off the map. What they should take in consideration is this will also hurt the people in Palestine and those surrounding nations. But nonetheless, that's what their goal is. So the talks were going smoothly, but once the election happened, and now people are starting to think that Biden might win, a lot of these nations are holding on and pulling back until they find out what goes on. But it's also emboldened Iran to definitely put a halt to all talks. They're excited about the possibility of Biden being in office, all the sanctions being lifted, and them going right back to building nuclear weapons. I know they say it's not a nuclear weapon and they're not building one, but that's not the case. If you look at the agreement, we weren't even allowed to go into the country to see if they were building a nuclear weapon. They wouldn't even allow that. And by the way, we know that under Trump, when Trump squeezed them with sanctions, they threatened Trump, saying that they were way further along in this nuclear program than people knew. So see, they had already admitted it under the Trump administration. So there is concern, and rightfully so. But this article goes on to talk about the history with Biden and Obama and how it screwed up the entire Middle East is what happened. Now, whether you believe in a whole New World Order or not, it doesn't make a difference. But if you look at the New World Order map, they had or want Iran to control the whole entire Middle East over there. They want to call it, I believe, the Middle Eastern Union or something like that. You know how you got the European Union, and then they want to put all these things. There's like 5 unions, and one country controls each sector of their unions. And Iran was chosen to control the whole Middle Eastern Union, is what it was. So nonetheless, you can understand why they're concerned. All right, so I'll leave the links so you guys can come here and see this, and so you can see why they're concerned. All right. So that's it for now. But oh yeah, I was going to tell you this. As far as talking with people behind the scenes about the Iraqi dinar in regards to this election, again, sometimes you got to take the bad news along with the good news. And I'm not just saying this because it's a political jab. That's not what it is. I'm telling you what's being talked about. This is pure speculation. But I can tell you this. They're already concerned that a Biden administration would prevent Iraq's dinar from getting its revaluation for years. We would end up just putting our dinars in the cupboard and just, or in a safe or in the sock drawer, and waiting until the day comes. That is a huge concern that's being spoken about. But now, having said the bad, let's talk about the good. Again, this is just speculation. This is just my opinion. If they really start to feel threatened that Biden is going to cause holy hell over there, then I anticipate, if Biden wins, and I doubt that he's going to be, quite honest with you, but if he does win, don't be surprised if they don't pull the trigger before he takes office. Now, again, that's just my opinion. I have my own reasons for thinking that. There's nothing behind that other than my own opinion. But don't be surprised if that happens, okay? Biden would be terrible for the Middle East. There's a lot of countries out there concerned about Biden. Australia is one of them. They are shitting their pants because this would allow China to go pick on and screw with Australia like they started to until Trump got there. All right, you guys, so that's it for now. Let me know what you think. Hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later.